And press is present, the judge is present, other elected officials are all present. We have 10 of our 11 JPs. We're still missing in so many different ways. Justice Sylvester. I'm hoping that he gets better, much better soon. Wow, June the 17th. We're moving right along through the year. We're 42% of our 12 months. I'm going to be really brief as far as the synopsis goes. All the county elected officials are still under budget. They're still doing a real good job on controlling all their expenses in their respective offices. I haven't caught any major bleeps or bumps. We're not saying that we don't have some down the road that we do see coming. And we'll kind of touch base on them just a little bit today. But in general, we're doing well. All the elected officials are doing well in their jobs, holding our expenses down. Our county general today is at 1.62 million. That's solid. That's as solid as we've been this time of year to have the reserve funds that we have. All of our other funds, including the county road CD, economic development, all very strong and all doing very well. So have several little orders of business today that we want to attend to, and I'd like to go ahead and move straight on into them. Judge, I'm going to open up with you and the road department. You've got 3 slots down there. You and I talked about it a little bit this morning. We have slots for road personnel, but you'd like to fill them with temps right at the moment. You want to talk about it?
Yes. We've got 3 positions. We had 3 positions that we're wanting to fill. One's an excavator operator, and another one is a truck driver that would be driving or charged with driving one of those Mack dump trucks, 16-yard dump trucks, and then we needed a day or a laborer. We filled the laborer position. But we still got the other 2 to go, and my history with hiring people that say they can operate an excavator, sometimes you've got some people that know how to operate one, and then some people that
think they know how.
think they know how. So and they're very dangerous machines. And you need to be familiar with them or you can do a lot of damage. The truck's the same way. We had to move a gentleman around because of his inability to work that as well as what we have expected of him. So rather than hire people into those slots and then find out they don't work out, and Leslie and Beverly and Kelly go to all that trouble they go to get people set up on the benefits, I thought it would make much more sense to go through the temps route first and see if they're going to be a good fit in the road department, and if they are, then we can move them over into the provided slots. We're not planning on using this contract labor line item on a regular basis or increase the number of employees that's at the road department. We're just wanting to use it as a holding,
So we'll leave those 3 slots unfilled while we've got the 3 temps, and then if they work out, you move the temp over into the full-time slot.
That's correct.
But we don't have any money funded in the contract labor line in the road department. So, Kelly, don't you feel like we ought to put a little money over in there? So, what we're asking is to put some money over in the contract labor line in the road department for these 3 positions of the moment. But we're actually not expecting the overall expenditures to increase because we'll leave these other 3 positions not filled. So we're just moving the money from one place to another. Is basically all we're doing.
Moving it from salaries?
Yeah, moving it from salaries over into contract labor. Have you put a number to that?
No, I don't. I can tell you what their yearly salaries are, but I did not do any figuring because I didn't know how long.
How long or anything? Had you thought about that?
I hadn't, but I'm, off the top of my head, I don't know, 25,000 would be more than enough, I would think.
Let me ask you this, Kelly, can we just ride just paying it out of contract labor and going red on that particular line item for a couple of months, or?
Yeah.
until he kind of gets a feel for it, or do we need to really fund it and have money in there?
I think as long as we do it eventually, it'll be okay.
All right. How do you feel?
I think that's the perfect way. There's no use moving more money in there than need to be, and I'm thinking in 8 weeks, I mean, we should know.
As long as the auditors don't
Yeah,
lie us up over it.
That's right.
But I'd say, so how do y'all feel about him paying contract labor out of an unfunded line item for the moment?
It is funded, it's just zero, is it?
It's just zero funded at the
We made a
moment.
mistake, I'd say do it. We just didn't catch it.
Just didn't catch it, okay. All right, is that okay, Judge?
yes.
Kelly? All right, cool deal. Judge, you want to talk, as long as we got you talking, you want to talk about the landfill equipment?
Yes, I would like to talk about that. Do we have handouts?
I got something. Neil's got all that information.
I defer to Neil.
It must be
Go ahead,
asking for
Judge.
money.
All right.
I'll give you one.
We have,
JC got this to me this morning, that's the reason.
Okay.
yeah, I spoke with him last night on the phone. He had the last, he hadn't quite finished. So, and I've spoken with him several times on the phone this morning. We had talked about whether we're just going to lease this, lease purchase, an outright purchase, or finance it, and we spoke at the landfill meeting last week that the landfill's doing really well, and we are still on track for netting out at the end of the year $1 million over expenses. But we also have some very, very expensive items that we've got to accomplish. So $1 million is probably just going to barely get us there. But we're also needing some equipment. The place looks really terrible out there. In the summertime, when everything grows up, I was out there last summer quite a bit, and it just needs to be dressed up and made to look a little bit more professional. And I think that the employees out there would look at it more as a professional place, and the road department would. And we're doing inspection from ADEQ this month. They make quarterly inspections, and I think we need to go and make a little extra effort to let them know that we're professional in our duties. So that's what we're talking about, this tractor. This tractor is a 400 horsepower John Deere tractor, and you can see the different ways that we can go about securing that piece of equipment. When we're also going to want a batwing mower, and at some point or another I think we're going to need a disc. The disc doesn't have to be new, but I think the tractor and the mower, I think those are two items that need to be new. And I will be on the lookout for a cushion axle type disc, so that we'll be able to use it on some of the areas that some of the large acreage that are outside the landfill.
How quick do you want to move on this, Judge?
Well, like I said, we've got an inspection coming up, so I thought we would, you know, the sooner the better.
I apologize I didn't make your meeting the other day.
That's okay. They have the tractor that the judge and folks have looked at. I think they have it on the lot. If I'm,
As far as I know that.
and I think that the mower is there too, so it can be done pretty quick.
Well, all this went through your committee the other day, didn't
It
it?
is.
So what kind of recommendation did you
Well,
make?
the only uncertainty the other day, the committee recommended we do it. There was some question about whether we would lease. At that time, we didn't have all the numbers on the financing. It appears that financing is probably going to be the best option for us. We just didn't want to spend a huge chunk of money and reduce our balance because of all the liabilities we've got coming in the near future. But if you'll notice, this gives you John Deere finance, it gives you the lease, gives you John Deere financing, Farmers Bank and Southern Bank Corp. I don't hardly see how you can beat 0% down and 4% interest.
That was pretty hard.
That's a pretty good deal.
Pretty good deal right now.
I'm not advocating for anybody, but, and overall, it would save the county about probably 30,000 or more over the life, 60 months.
So what we'd be looking at here then is a short-term financing agreement for the judge.
Yes.
Judge, are you on board with that?
Wait a minute. Yeah, these numbers just came out. I mean, they got here just a little bit ago, and I haven't really gone over them a whole lot. I'm going to tell you my history in buying agricultural equipment, especially a tractor, a row crop tractor, is that, and we would trade every 2 to 3 years. And one thing that really started that is when the equipment started changing as technology developed. And if you held on to a tractor very long, it became obsolete,
Yeah.
at least in the agricultural world. I mean, and if you couldn't hook on a planter onto it, or a whatever other piece of equipment, it's not much use to you. And there's no way you can keep up, by trying to retrofit that technology. And it's not just that, the remotes change, the number of remotes and the number of, with the equipment. So it just didn't seem like a very feasible thing to do is to keep one. And I'm just looking at the cash flow side of it, not the net. But you got 34, 36, 83 a month for 36 months, and then the second from the bottom, you've got 46, 17, 51. So that is 1,300. That's $15,000 a year. Am I looking at that correctly?
Probably about right.
Yeah.
$15,000 a year. That's $45,000 over the life of the lease. Now, if we were going to keep it for a long time, I can see it, but we are in a pinch in cash flow right now. And I think Justice Burge would be able to, or might agree with that we're going to get to where we're going. And once we get there, we're going to be in really good shape, as long as we get there. Did I say that correctly? Okay, so, my idea would probably be going the lease, but I could certainly understand if you want to go the other way. And I think you can make an argument for either side. But
You're saying lease the tractor
and let it go,
turn it in,
and then turn it in. But that's just another idea. I mean, if you want to go the other way, it's fine.
That was the original proposal as it came to the committee, but in discussion, a couple of members brought up we might want to look at financing, so that's the reason we sent it forward. So it's just a matter of deciding which way we want to go. The original proposal was to lease it for 3 years.
Well, either one, at least we're not taking that big hit and just trying to pay cash. So I honestly don't, I don't see that there's a big difference. I do agree with leasing as opposed to purchasing. I mean, we do the same thing.
Yeah.
I do the same thing in my commercial business. And turn it back around and.
Yeah, let it go back.
Yeah. And we do the same thing with the trucks, our Mack trucks out there at the road department.
Right.
Yeah, and then we have 3 pieces of cat equipment that's under lease at the landfill. Excavator and a couple of dozers that are under lease.
Justice Nelson?
Is the first one 3 years or 5 years?
3 years.
And then we got 5 years on some of them.
All the financing is 5 years. The lease is
So
3
we're
years.
comparing 3 years
To 5 years.
to 5s.
Yes.
You did that to confuse me.
Look at your monthly payment. That's the big deal. It's $1,000 difference on the lease.
Well, and the big difference would be at the end of 3 years, we would turn it back in and get another one and put it under lease, where the other, it's our tractor. We pay only 5 years, it's our equipment. But you've got a tractor, you've got a piece that's 5 years old, so.
I mean, if you're thinking, you know, the way I approached it was, are we going to keep this tractor long-term, or are we gonna keep it short-term? And if it's gonna be a long-term, there's a no-brainer. You know, the second one from the bottom is cheaper, because trying to buy it back after the lease, you wouldn't want to do that, and the others two is more expensive on the front end, the down payment and the interest rate. So I think it's just a matter of, do we want to keep our cash flow in better shape, and do we want to keep do you want to keep it just the 3 years and then turn it back?
But Judge, this particular piece of equipment, this tractor, is just going to pull a packer, is that correct?
It's may pull a roller, it may pull a disc, the batwing mower, maybe a caliper, those type things.
So those things probably won't change, will they, as far as connection to the tractor?
Probably not. Not in this case. Not in the landfill's case.
It just looks like, if that might be the case, that the Farmers Bank might be the best deal.
If we're gonna keep it long term. But see, if we buy it and it turns out maybe we don't keep it real long, in 5 years or 6 years, the technology will still be out on that tractor and it won't be worth much.
The value itself, whether it does our job or not, the resale.
When you try to go in and trade it in, no, there's nobody gonna want it.
Resale value drops.
That's the way the market's been in the last 20 years.
You get a little bit in quick, Justice, what are you thinking?
I like the lease. I mean, you're looking at over $1,000 a month savings on the lease. Of course, we're not gonna, if we were gonna buy the tractor at the end of the lease, yes, Farmers Bank would be the way to go. But 3 years of a tractor at that landfill, we're probably not gonna want that tractor after 3 years. I mean, it's just, that's my opinion. I'm gonna say in 5 years, it's gonna be wore out and worth nothing.
Justice Fleeman probably has more experience in used farm equipment than all of us.
He just, in 3 years at the landfill, I don't care what it's pulling. It's gonna be in bad shape. Working the landfill is just hard on the tractor. And the 3 year lease looks like the way to go for me, because I don't think you're gonna have much to sell or trade at the end of 5.
Somebody want to make a motion for something?
I move that we purchase a John Deere tractor.
Purchase or lease?
I move that we lease the John Deere tractor on a 3 year lease at the payment as outlined, $34,3683 for 36 months.
Okay, we got a motion and a second on the floor to look at the second line item down, lease purchase of the 400 horsepower tractor for $34,3683 per month for 36 months. Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Well, there's your tractor, Judge.
Thank you, and I'll tell you, we'll probably be right back here when we get our equipment lined out.
Well, you've already mentioned the batwing mower around $16,000.
16 sound right? Yeah.
16,700 or something like that.
16,203.96.
Okay.
Is that a John Deere?
That's your what is it?
I doubt it's a John Deere. I'm sure it's a brand that they carry. It's painted green, but I'm sure it's a bush hog.
Somebody said what? It's 15. I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to interrupt you. Somebody said the brand, was it Rhino?
Might be.
It was a good brand. I remember somebody saying, I just can't remember the brand.
But we got the numbers from John Deere, didn't we?
Yes.
And it was 16,700.
Yeah.
About
Can we go ahead and authorize that?
Well, that's, I was trying to do a quick look in his budget, see if he doesn't have the money just to
Oh,
buy it.
yes, we have plenty of money.
You got $200,000 in your budget, you can just buy that, you don't have to ask.
Well, I want everybody to know what's going on.
Well, I'd like to know what's going on, but you don't have to ask if you decide you want your mower
Yeah,
and you need it next week.
yeah. Well, like I said, but I want everybody to know what's going on at the,
Good politics, good policy, and I appreciate it, but, yeah.
Doesn't require any action.
Doesn't require any action from us.
okay, then that's what we'll do. We've also got, and I think we're past, I think they're hired, is the young gentleman that's out there at the landfill helping clean up? Two
I think
teenagers?
they started work, maybe part of last week.
Kelly, is that correct? Do you
They
know?
started last week, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got two, high school students that have been out there that's gonna try to, that's gonna be cleaning things up. We've also hired, we've got a new person out there that's formerly with the, landfill that's got a Class C license, another Class C. This will be our third Class C license. It's gonna be on the premises, which is a big deal. And, we're making a lot of headway out there. We've got an inspection, like I said, coming up. That's why we're wanting them to be out there, pick up trash, weed eat, make it look better. And when we get this tractor and the other piece of equipment and mow it. I called ADEQ last Friday and I advised them on our status with closing out the old Class 1.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're under a CAO, which I don't know, some of you may not be familiar with that, but you know, if somebody tells you to stop doing something and you don't, and then they come out and they tell you again, well, when you get a CAO, that means you fix it.
Yeah.
Because the next
I'm
thing,
not gonna let up.
no, and the next thing will be a fine, and then they'll just keep on until you finally fix it. We come up with a plan, or this plan was come up back in the fall, to take dirt from an area that's just south of the cell, the Class 1 cell that we're on right now, and take that dirt and apply 12 inches to 23.5 acres at the top of the old Class 1. I've been out there regularly looking, waiting to get those tractors in there and get that dirt. That area that they're getting it from, they've already excavated some of that dirt, and so it is below grade, and it hadn't stopped raining since the 10th of August. That ground is not going to dry up. I don't think you can count on it drying up this year. So we had to come up with another way to get that soil that's going to be that 12 inches of 23.5 acres. So about 2 weeks ago, I called the road department and told them, don't put any spoil back in adjacent to our ditches. Put it in a truck and bring it back. So I'm going to guess by now we've probably got 100 truckloads that's been dumped out there. I've called the contractor, told him to bring his equipment back here, start getting that dirt and carrying it up the top. So I informed ADEQ, you know, what our intentions were, and that we have not been able to comply with that CAO yet. And but this is our plan. Well, the lady I spoke with says you can't do that. And I said, why not? She said, well, it hadn't been tested, and it's got to be a certain, they wanted clay or something. So, but she's going to call somebody and call me back. Well, that was Friday. Well, sure enough, about 3:30 she called. She says you can do it. So I thought, you know, we're going to have to come up with something. And then by the time I calculated how many cubic yards, 12 inches, 23.5 acres, it's a monumental amount of dirt.
Did you figure it up in truckloads by any chance?
I did.
Was it 7,000?
No, not that much. At 12 inches in a 16 cubic yard truck, it takes about 100 trucks to do, anyways, 2,300 trucks is what it amounts to. But we're hauling them. And then we've got probably 2 miles of ditches to clean out right now before we can do anything else, and then we're coming back to the county property, and we're going to clean every ditch out as close to that landfill as we can, and we're hauling the dirt. So, we're going to be continuously hauling dirt.
Well, that's kinda good for everybody then.
It's good for everybody. It'll be good for the farmer that has the contract, it'll be good for the county, and so, and we've got to comply. So I will probably call ADEQ back this week. I'm gonna keep them in constant touch with them, let them know what we're doing and that we're not sitting back on our laurels and not doing anything.
As long as they know you have an affirmative action plan on a CAO, they usually give you some breathing room.
Well, we've had, you know, this is supposed to have been done December 31st. So
They've been very.
They've been very generous so far?
So far.
We've got some other things going on there too. We've got a compactor that's fixing to go, well, it'll be out of lease December 31st, which is a long time away from now. But then I find out it takes 6 months to get one in. So I've got the information here. If anyone wants to see it, I didn't make copies, but we need to move on that before the 30th of this month.
You looking at something just like what we've had?
Exactly.
Or similar?
Yeah.
Has that been working well?
It's been working very well. Now, I had a gentleman that I spoke with recently that I met at the last judge's meeting, and he worked for an outfit that sold equipment and said ours was too big and we could get by with something less, and he's got one. But I spoke with James out at the landfill, and he's very leery about stepping down a notch.
You know, we stepped up a notch on purpose because it was that compaction, that airspace that we keep talking about. Airspace is money.
It's extremely expensive in a class.
Isn't that an 80,000 pound machine?
You know, I don't know. I've got
The compactor is about 80,000.
80,000.
I think that's correct.
About $750,000, I think. And we're going, and I would have some better numbers here, but I'm going to cut down what he has offered to us because I think he had too many bells and whistles on servicing and monitoring, and you know, there was just a list of warranties that long, and I don't think we need all of those. I've got to decipher exactly what they mean and then get with James, and because some of it I don't think we've got use for.
Over the years, and James I'm sure is going to be much better than what we've had in the past, but one of the biggest issues we've had with equipment at the landfill was a regular servicing deal, and that's one thing we had kind of cut up with CAT when we released those pieces out there, that they were responsible for servicing those machines on a regular basis. So I just keep look at that at least when you're looking at this contract.
Oh yeah, those kind of things we're going to keep. Yeah, they're going to come out. We're going to keep the one that comes out and they change the oil and change the filters. But there's one you pay for, and it's pretty pricey, that just says if you ever do need us, then it won't cost you anything. And so I'm kind of thinking we might ought to go the route of.
They've got 3 or 4 different maintenance agreements.
Yeah, some of them are just, I don't think going to be useful to us.
You know, all these are little bumps, but we've got a big bump coming. We're looking at FTN's coming up with a number for us on closure numbers. Looking at maybe 2 million. Got a plan?
Yeah, I think we're going to make it. But we've got one that comes so close that it might keep you up at night if I told you. And I don't have it written out.
Keep me up at night right now.
I don't think I've got it, I had it in my memory right now, Brady. Do you know? But anyway, we're going to have $1 million. We're headed toward $1 million over expenses by the end of this year. And Justice Burge, I don't know if you remember all the details or not. I'll get it to y'all.
We ended up, well, we had a handout we had the other day. We ended, our cash balance at the end of May was 1.5 million. And we're going to owe Mr. Hendricks about 300,000 of that, so we're down to 1.2 million. So hopefully by the time we get the bids in and get the work started, we hope we're going to have a pretty big chunk of the $2 million. We won't think we'll have it all, but we're going to
Sounds like a plan to me.
That's what we're trying to do. So, you know, we're just trying to squeeze everything we can to have that, because when the work's done, we have to pay for it too. So.
And we can't do without a class 1.
No.
We've got to have it ready before we even finish with the one we're on.
Well, I've got you on such a good roll, and before we move to Justice Ash and 2 or 3 things with him, our county clerk came to us the other night. I don't know if she's here. Janice, you're hiding from me. She came to us the other night at our last regular meeting and was talking about a person down in Osceola at the courthouse down there.
Mr. Rice.
You want to talk about that at all today?
Yes, Mr. Rice is a huge asset to the Osceola courthouse. He's there regularly, on time or early. He'll do anything that they need him to do, whether it's replace a light bulb or clean out a drain outside or to get the limbs up. Janice has told me that he'd mow the yard if we had a lawnmower up there. In fact, she asked me if we could get a blower. Did you ever buy that? So he does things like clean that up and keeps everything running.
But he's not a county employee currently.
No, he's being paid through a state agency that we get him for free, but they have had enough of that. So they're gonna move him somewhere else. June 30th is the last day we have. And if we want him, we're going to have to put him on the payroll. So given the fact that we're fixing to have one of our courthouses double in size, it makes sense that we may need 2 people there to help just stay even with what we've got right now. Of course, we got the VOTEC one that's coming up right now, and we're going to leave behind the circuit clerk's office. So I don't know how we're going to handle that custodial efforts, and the extension office, at least for right now, VOTEC and Osceola. So, and we've got one gentleman that is hired through temps that is filling in until Benny gets back. So I think this would be a perfect fit. I think we need him.
Have you taken this personnel? Are you asking for an additional slot?
We have taken this to...
Yes.
We discussed it in personnel.
That's another one of the meetings I missed the other day. I'm
Did
sorry.
we already approve this?
Yes, we approved the slot and with the recommendation that y'all take it, look at the JSL.
Do you know what kind of money we're asking for?
Sir,
What kind of money we asking?
it was, I think, somebody said mid-level, what your money was.
This is on 36 hours. We also got a recommendation to look at moving on at least a 40-hour work week.
Okay. Judge,
That's just the mid-range on it.
Justice Ash here is showing me the level that we've got Benny and Annie at right at the moment. Yeah, looking at a mid-level, a little over 19 annual. Is that what you're thinking?
or at least fund the slot for that, and
We can work with it within that.
then I think that, yeah, that way we keep everybody about on the same level right now until y'all decide to increase those slots.
Yeah. Okay. You want to make a motion?
Second.
Got a motion, a second, all in favor? Cool. All right. Move through on that one then.
Don't leave
Go
me.
back just a second.
Yes, sir.
The judge started, and then I think I interrupted him or something. He was talking about a young person at the landfill.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that person will be paid through the temps. There's already money budgeted for that in the landfill budget. Just so everybody will know.
Yeah, he's being paid now. In fact, today is his first day. The compactor, what do we want to do about it right now? Did we do
I think
it?
you need to start moving on. Did y'all talk about it yet?
Yeah, we talked about it. We hadn't really got down to details, but yes, it's been talked about.
You got the numbers on it?
I do. Well, I don't have the finalized numbers. I had the one that the salesman submitted to me. And I'll get you a copy. How about that?
Okay.
How about I email it to you?
But we need to start moving on it. You're right. It takes 6 months to get one of those.
Yeah, and I don't think we want to be without it. And like I said, we're within 2 weeks to 6 months.
Okay, if you can get those together then, and the other one shouldn't be terminating then, so we'll just be kind of swapping one payment for another.
Or I'll tell you what, I'll just give the numbers out right now, and if you want to go ahead and move on it, and if we make it any cheaper, I mean, it's not gonna be any more than this.
Won't we do that?
Okay.
I'm just scared not to.
I am too.
Why don't we just go ahead and give them permission to replace it with existing price or existing?
Oh, he's gotta have it, absolutely, but I think he's got the numbers.
Yeah, here they are.
Have you compared them with what we're doing right now?
I have, it's quite a bit more. This is, well, it's not, maybe not quite a bit more, no. What is that number, right?
13,751.
And I think we're paying 12,000.
12,800 something.
$12,025.93.
So it's
But that,
$1,700.
see, that's not a real good figure that represents what we actually are paying for that. You know, that was re-amortized, if y'all remember.
Mm-hmm.
And, so that's the 12 is the re-amortized number.
And you're sticking with cap, right?
Right.
And I think that's a good one.
Same size, isn't it, Judge?
Same size.
You want to make a motion? What Justice Nelson is moving is that we give the judge the approval to go ahead and move forward on this within these cost parameters without tying him down to an exact dollar and cent figure.
I'll second.
How do you feel about that? You could-
Agree.
And he's got the money. He does have the money, we don't have to appropriate anything. Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Judge, just keep moving.
All right, thank you. There's a couple of other things I want to talk to you about. John, if you'll hand those out right now. We've got a project that we're working on right now. And I hear a lot in the county, specifically in Blytheville, about some of the blight that we have in our areas, and some of those things that tend to represent Mississippi County. And I believe that those type things begin on the outside edges and radiate back in. And I think our interstate highway is one of those areas that it is consistently grown up compared with Crittenton and Pemiscott County, or Craighead, or Poinsett. We have traveled all over the state, and Mississippi County seems to stand out. So I called our district engineer and was asking for the contracts on the people that mow this interstate. And you know, a county judge sometimes in the highway department doesn't exactly always see eye to eye. So I was trying to be really nice and just asking for the contracts. And he ended up he kept asking me, where are you going with this? And I told him, I said, our interstates look horrible. I said, they're grown up and everybody else's is cut. And so he offered this really quickly. He said, we don't mow them to make them look nice. He said, we mow them just enough to keep an accident from happening. I said, well, that answers all my questions. And I wasn't even asking, but that tells everything. So I'm wondering why White, Jackson, Benton, Washington, Pulaski, and most of the rest of them, why theirs look nice and ours look so bad. And it's because that some of these other counties and some of the other cities go together and they have more mowing cycles than we do. The state pays for 3. You get 3 during a 12-month calendar year.
Wow.
And so no wonder it looks so bad. So what we're doing is we're looking at ways to provide funding for additional mowing cycles. Possibly 2. And John David spoke with, if you'll tell him of that conversation, I wasn't there.
Brad Smithy actually called JT today, kind of updating us on this, and it's there on your front sheet. The company that got the contract this year is Reliable Right of Way, and they are really interested. They're doing a really good job with the state, and the state's really impressed with them. Brad's kind of told them what we want to do, and they are very interested in investing more capital in Mississippi County. If we're willing to do more mowing, they would actually buy tractors and keep them in Mississippi County for us, depending on the numbers. Brad would actually, instead of us contracting with a group, with them, they would use the same contract, which is what y'all got listed in front of you. So we wouldn't have to draw up a contract. RDOT would supervise them would be able to hold their feet to the fire through that contract. And the only thing that we would have to make up would be the difference. And also in that packet, we drew up an email this morning and sent that to all the mayors in the county. Maybe they want to participate. I know some of them use their public works departments to mow their overpasses and some of their stretch of interstate, and this may be a catch-all for some of that as well.
And I'm thinking that the contractor said that if we do as many as 2, that they would buy some more equipment.
They would buy some more equipment and they would leave it here.
I know you've probably gone to the trouble of figuring out what a cost of one mowing would run.
For $50,000.
50
It's
per mowing?
Yes, it's in the.
So 2 would be an additional 100,000.
That's litter pickup and mowing.
I know this is really fresh. You probably haven't had time to study it out. Have you got funding thoughts yet?
That's the first thing we did, is send out emails to all the mayors. We're gonna start there.
Okay. Sounds like a great
I mean, there's
idea.
no, I would like to do it this summer, but I mean, we've been doing this long, I don't think but I think the sooner the better, but it's expensive, but like I said, when we, you know, when we're projected to the public. I mean, this is who we are. This is Mississippi County. This is the perception from, not only from our own view, our own residents, but those residents that come through Mississippi County. And I think there's plenty of room for improvements right there. And I think on the interstate may radiate into the cities and make us look better all over. And I'll tell you, we go to the Gulf quite often. Well, not quite often, but we'll go 3 times a year, at least. And we don't need road signs in Mississippi County that says Mississippi County.
You can tell it.
You can tell it. And you can tell it when you come into it.
Not in a good way.
You can tell it when you come into it on the south end, and you know when you're leaving into Missouri. And from here to the Gulf of Mexico to the water's edge, and I say we go often, and you do too. There's not another one. Some of them's got crepe myrtles that's planted and mulched and blooming and beautiful, and roadways that are always mowed. I rarely ever see them grown up. And we filmed the last 2 years coming into Mississippi County, and I mean we're on a kind of a regular basis of doing that, and I think we need to find a way to fix it. I think it's important.
Have they mowed Mississippi County this year?
Once.
I didn't even know they mowed it, because I mean, I know Brittany County was mowed just the other day. And you can still tell when you come in, you don't, like you said, you can tell when you cross.
Yeah.
And I've often wondered that, why we're always grown up.
Yeah.
And the other counties are already doing this, because they get the same amount of mowings.
That's right. Every county only gets 3. That's a standard state contract, and we've inspected them. One of the only differences is when they start and stop. And I don't remember now which that date that was on there, but
Some start in April, ours start in May, I believe.
yeah, ours starts like May 15th, and I think that's a mistake. I don't know why Crittenden County starts 2 weeks earlier or 3 weeks, but I think we could tweak it some, make it better, and I think we could add to it, make it better. But I'm not proposing anything right now. This is a FYI. This is why we look the way we do, and these are some tools that we might be able to look better.
Excellent.
I agree with you. If we figure out a way, to especially get the cities on board to help us pay for it, it'd be a great idea.
Right.
Great thing to do.
This, it says page 3 of 13, but it's, this particular page shows us the mowing schedule. First one between May 1st and June 9th, and second one between July 15th and August 23rd. Third one's not till after October 1st.
So it really gets snowed twice.
Twice in the summertime.
Yeah, that October 1st is way,
Yeah.
it's a cross.
And then it grows up then, you know, it'll still grow until you get the first frost. And, but anyway, that's FYI. There's one more thing and then I'll quit. New Cut Road from, you turn.
Osceola.
Yeah, turn into Osceola, you turn back south, and then you drive straight to the Plum Points, well, Eden BRS's front door. The county owns that road now, or a portion of it, about a mile.
Down south?
Yes.
South end?
Yeah, it goes to, I don't think it goes to the railroad track, I think it goes right there to the gate opening of Plum Point. And then it goes back to that road that you can turn west on and then hook back in on 61. It's about a mile. I contacted, I sent the road department out there 4 or 5 times with coal mix and shovel. And what they do is they find the hole and then they shovel it in, and then they take the truck that they're driving and they drive over it 2 or 3 times. And that is not working. And that is probably my #1 number of phone calls I get is from that road. So I called the highway department, the department that tends to state aid on the county's efforts, and asked them, you know, we went over the balance. Right now we're putting a bridge in, we're spending $1 million on. So I was trying to find out how much money, if we had enough money left to fund resurfacing that road. And we do, or we will. I mean, the money is there, but it won't get done for 18 months. So I called a private contractor that does small jobs. I don't know exactly how large they go, but I'm under the impression they do driveways and stuff like that. But they do have the equipment to come in and do it right. And so I've gotten a price on doing that, and we're going to try. I'm going to talk with him further and try to get this number down to something that we can handle. But we're going to move forward on that. And
That'd be out of your asphalt budget in the road department?
I'm sure it would probably be out of the road department, but no, I doubt it. I don't know how much is in that line.
200,000.
Oh yeah, well, it'd be under that. So that's what we're looking at. Like I said, just information.
Yeah.
And that's really all. I know that I'll probably take up too much time, but
For real action for next month, I'm gonna jump over to Justice Nelson for just a minute, because I know he's got an ordinance that he needs to present to us, and for us to present to the full court next month, or next week. Economic development, I didn't even put you last. I had you last on my list, but you made me feel bad more ago.
The economic development met with the personnel on the Otis Smith landfill. Cliff was at the plants, Pyrenees Mountains, and we left 2 projects that the governor had approved. One was the Newark, N-U-A, capital A-R-K. They're a manufacturing company here in Blytheville. They're going to add 10 jobs. And he's asked us to consider granting them $10,000 per job for a total of $100,000. They make utility poles to put internet boxes on. And he said their business is growing. They have agreed to do that. I think we can do both of these together if you want to.
What's the second one? Let's talk about the second one.
White bills.
And it's gonna do?
It's going to do 55 people at the Demon and Wilson. $12,000 per job. They're going to take the cotton off of the seeds. I think they're going to parch the seeds, at least these seeds will eventually get roasted and use them for cattle feed. And the cattle feed, the seeds used for cattle feed will increase the growth of cattle about 400%.
High protein.
That's substantial.
You're talking 10,000, 12,000 a job. Is that for Mississippi County residents only, or is that for any?
Earmark is only for, we couldn't figure out how to do it, so we're going to do $100,000. But if somebody from Missouri is employed, they get half of it. as all the other projects we're doing.
Okay.
But we're going to appropriate 100,000 to hopefully all of them will be in this account.
So you need,
And then there's no provisions for the white gold bills for anybody from Missouri. They come from Mississippi County.
they get no money.
They get no money.
Chairman of Economic Development, you want to make that motion?
I think it was.
What do y'all want to say?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded that we do present appropriation ordinance to the full court next Tuesday night involving New Ark at $100,000 and White Gold at $660,000 as per job incentive programs. Any other discussion?
Where were the employees gonna come from White Gold? Where are they gonna live? Where are they gonna come
But
from?
the $12,000 is only for people in Mississippi County. There's nothing, no incentive for people in Missouri. Okay. So if they don't hire somebody from Bible, there's no incentive. That's the way the company suggested it, and that pleased us.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? You know, we've been promising for the last several months since the first year that we would be visiting Jessup and salaries sometime after midpoint, which we're getting there real quick. So next month I expect us to really hit a hard push on looking at our Jessup program and trying to reach midpoint, get closer to midpoint. You know, over the last couple of years, the way we've been doing our raises, bonuses, whatever, we've been spending around $250,000 a year, give or take, $200,000 to $300,000 a year. And every time we do that, that adds. It doesn't go away. You know, we do it this year, and then we do it again next year. The way we're doing with raises, it keeps adding. Now with bonuses, it didn't do that, but we've been doing raises the last 2 years. So the last 2 years, we've increased our payroll by over $500,000. But yet we still have some that are falling down in that first quartile and lower. And we promised that we would look at those lower positions and evaluate what it would take to get everybody up closer to that midsection of the scale and try to get everybody on a much more level playing field. See how much that was going to cost us, and then see what more could we do when it came time to talk about general across all employee county raises. You know, we're still of limited funds, and every time we do a raise like that, then we are increasing further down the road liabilities. So, but it is a study that we're going to have to do. Justice Ash with Personnel Committee has been working with Kelly and trying to put some numbers together for us, but we're going to have to look really hard at total cost, what it's going to cost us to get the lower people up in the higher brackets, and then what that's going to do to us financially, and then what we'll be able to think about as we put our 2020 budget together. I think we'll start that after the first of the month. Just as you've been working on it, you know, same thing, visit that a little bit.
All I'm gonna say about it right now is it cost us about, per year, it will cost us about the same thing as it did to give a raise last year. If you look at doing it for half a year, you're looking at about $123,000 to finish out this year. And next year you'd be looking at about $246,873. And that's spread out over several different areas: county general, roads, landfill, 911, and jail. Biggest hit comes in the jail, I'll tell you that now. And it looks about $102,000.
You think that's because there's more employees out there, or because there's more in the lower brackets out there?
Well, you've got more in almost every jail employee is in the bracket. They're not in midpoint. We have some that are quite a bit below midpoint and some that are a little bit closer. And you really just can't, differentiate why. It's just one of those things.
We just don't want the employees to think that we've forgotten them, because we definitely have not. We're going to keep our promise. We're going to look at it and evaluate it, and then collectively we'll all make the best decision that we can possibly make, both financially and for the employees. Coming out of your Fire, Police, and Safety Committee, you've got, you were looking at healthcare contract?
They're going to bring us back some information on that. Our healthcare contract with the hospital, if we stay there, is going to go up. Apparently we paid him right at $200,000 last year, a little over. And then we had to keep a nurse on staff, which was costing us about $56,000, so it put it real close to $300,000. What he's bringing back to us this year would be a proposal that would have a nurse that the contract paid for, and it would be considerably less than $300,000, and we could choose a 56-hour week option or a 80-hour week option. He's getting some information. I looked at the contract. He asked the hospital to look at the contract. They're very cooperative on this. They understand what's going on and they want to work with us. And I even asked my wife to look at it because she used to do quality control for the hospital. And there were several questions we put forth to him. He's going to get the answers to those, possibly a copy of the contract so that we can review it at our next meeting. So that will be coming, and hopefully we'll be looking at doing the savings for the jail on that. I don't know how big yet, but it looks like it could be substantial.
I didn't want to let you make you feel left out last week, so I skipped your meeting too.
I noticed.
Do you have anything to bring to the Finance Committee regarding jail fees?
Not at this time. We referred there's a contract Blyville has asked to put forward, and we have asked the county attorney to look at it and get recommendations from him. We will probably try to meet in July because I'm hoping we have the contract for the health care as well, and we can meet on both things and discuss that at that time. We should have our attorney's opinion. The judge was going to give it to Jeremy and let him look at it and see what he thought about it. There was a couple of things that we had some contention on. One was it was automatically renewable. They said we'd have to come in and vote on it, but that's one of those things that concerned me, and the judge stated to me it's going to concern him also. So we want to get some things looked at in there. Justice Nelson had some concerns that they restated the entire Supreme Court decision. We know what the Supreme Court decision was, we really needed in there. So we're going to let him look at it and make his recommendations.
Did you get a recommendation to raise the general default number?
No, we did not, because I have found some information that I'm looking at. Kelly is going to give me some more years. I'm going to take a 5-year look at it. The sheriff is going to supply me the total number of prisoner names. And we will get 5 years and average it out and get a good look and see where we're at. I can tell you that the 1 year 2017 we looked at was higher than what we're charging. I can tell you that probably the year we put the air conditioners and the roof in, if that falls in, that's going to really bring it up. And we're doing the cameras this year, so that will cause it to be higher. Because when you look at major expenditures, those are added in.
This is going to be next.
Okay.
I'll take one down and pass it around. It's like cornbread.
But we will be looking at that as well on our next meeting. Hopefully we'll have some general consensus.
That's it.
When you said cameras, it clicked my memory that he may have a couple extras over there, guys. I printed 11 of them.
This is going to surprise Bubba. We were shocked today. But I'm leaning towards agreeing with him that probably the county ought to leave it like it is at $55, and we probably need to take on some of the responsibility of the cities. So I hope you don't have a heart attack over the city.
You know, it's every, once in a lifetime, things happen, once in a lifetime, you and I agree.
Yeah, I'll go so far as to tell you, you're talking about like $8 a day difference. It's what it looks like on that. I can't tell you about the others, but $8 a day difference is what we're talking about.
Well, I know Rick's gonna have more information at a later date and everything, but in thinking about this, since we met a week ago, and I know the city presented his contract and everything, and the thought crosses my mind, this is just a thought, I don't want to get into a long discussion about it unless everybody wants to, but why do we need contracts? Why do we not just pass an ordinance setting that as the date? If we have all pretty well agreed that we want to charge every city the same thing, why would we even need a contract?
You don't. The only reason to have a contract is if you're offering something less or something more than your default agreement. And you'd have to have justification for something more. And I guess you'd need some kind of justification for something less.
And I'm sure Blythe came up with the contract, thank you, because they know we're talking about raising jail fees, and they're trying to push it in here, and others agree to it, and we're guaranteeing, you know. And there's nothing wrong with that, I'm not faulting them for doing that, I'm just saying, and there, I agree with you, and also, well, I agree with Justice Nelson, coming anyway. But what would the contract hurt if we just did it for a year, you know?
Well, and my thoughts on the contract, instead of seeing so much per day, because that's a lot of paperwork for everybody to keep up, I would love to see us, you know, if we just took an average of how many days they help people in jail and multiply it by 55, do a set contract. That way, we know how much money we're going to have to deal with in the jail. They know how much money they're going to have to pay us every year.
I still say that's a bad idea. I think you're going to end up with a jail overload.
Well,
I know we weren't going to, but I just believe you'll end up with a jail overload.
You know, that's always a problem. If you're looking at average number of jail days, if they start to increase it, you know, I will tell you that Crittenden County, Craighead County started out with their jail over there at around 200,000 to Jonesboro per year. You know, Jonesboro was a little smaller back when that was their contract. Right now, they're up to almost $1 million. Because I talked to the chief of police over there the other day, and he was telling me, he said, we're going up every year. Because they're the main ones that put people in jail in Crittenden County. You know, the other counties, the other side of cities don't. They're too small, and a lot of them don't have the budget to pay for it. And I'm not saying that we have to, but I think that's the better route, so we know what we're looking at going in.
Do we charge the other counties that when we hold prisoners for them, do we charge them a different amount?
Yes.
What's the?
You know, I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's higher. We pay a higher amount when we go.
Well, that's what I would
We pay
think
up
so.
to $80 for
Okay.
certain circumstances, particularly in the juvenile department.
Okay.
When you have a city in your own county, you give them the better rate.
Right, well, I just.
You know, it's just like I live outside the city of Blythe, I'll compare it to the water. My water bill is double what everybody in the cities is. But I don't have the garbage and sewer that they do. So it boils down to it's about the same amount, but they charge me more for my water.
I talked with the mayor the other day, Mayor Sanders, and asked him about the concept that you're talking about, and he said at this point in time, they really weren't interested. They liked their contract idea of $55.
Yeah, they do, and it's like he said, he talked to me about it. He called me after work one day and said, I want to talk to you while you're not on the clock. Okay. He said that we don't have enough data to know how much to pay. He said, we know how many we put in right now. He said, we'd like to get some data to look at it to see if we can go that way. But those are the three things that will come up in the next police and fire administration.
Just double checking with you since I skipped your meeting. Guys, Wayne Reynolds, our Office of Emergency Services person, is out of town today, but he did send us some information. He's talked to us about Homeland Security grant he got, and then expanding that grant project for a camera security system down at the Osceola Courthouse. It's inept and inadequate, doesn't work half the time, and rather than the full 13 pages in that agreement that I got emailed a while ago, it showed every little position of all the different cameras and everything. This is the summary sheet, shows a full cost of $39,210. Kelly, do you remember how much his grant was? Wasn't it like $12,000?
It's 15 for the grant, and then the
Court automation fund was going to finish the rest of it, wasn't it?
No, they only offered 20.
They offered
So
20.
15 for the grant, 20 from the court automation,
30.
and then the rest was going to be ours, which was right at $8,130 because of tax. We have to pay the tax.
That's somebody down there on the balance of the funds.
That's the 20,000 court automation funds in the budget. It's funds that are kind of special revenue funds that come from fines and such. And the judges, the second judicial judges control that money. $20,000. So he's got a $15,000 grant. Then he's got $20,000 that the judges have agreed to give us out of their budget. $35,000. It's a $39,000 project, and then Kelly says tax was running up another $4,000. So for us to be able to complete a $44,000 project, it's going to cost us $8,000. Hey, you work down there all the time. Tell me about the courthouse security and camera system down there. Is it beneficial?
Yes.
Why?
I mean, oh, it's not. I mean, we need the new camera system.
Thought you said that.
No, I was thinking, he was gonna ask me was it beneficial to have it. I said, yes. I've seen it, it's, you know, it's out of date and everything.
Janice?
No,
No what? Don't get it?
no.
How come?
It's not serving a purpose as it is. When you're gonna waste that kind of money?
I thought part of
Seriously, talk to us about it, Janice.
Never mind. I said no.
You think it's a waste?
Yes.
What if somebody pulls a gun in there and does something violent, and we don't have any record of it, or no? Seriously, I mean, if you have a crime take place in there, wouldn't you want a video of it?
Didn't he explain to us that it would be connected to the sheriff and the Osceola Police Department?
Yes.
Cameras also?
He did add that.
That's all well and good, but I tell you, we pushed that alarm button accidentally one time, and this is supposed to be connected to the police department. Do you know how long it took them to come?
I'd like to know.
About an hour and a half. And you know how far that police station is from the courthouse, right?
4 minutes. Judge,
Harley, you
weigh in
got
on
people in the
this?
courthouse.
Well, it's county property. I mean, this falls under you.
Here's what I have put in my 2 cents worth in is I see the way the last ones were installed, and the wires are running everywhere. We've damaged some of the walls in there. Whoever comes in next time, I'm going to be there, and they've assured me they're going behind molding and areas like that, and nothing will show. But the last one, you can tell. I mean, it is absolutely, it's horrible. The wiring that they put out.
Is this the only proposal we have?
You know, the thing we have to look at is this deterrent, what it is. It's a deterrent device to stop people from doing things. After they've done it, it's got information, but when you see cameras out there.
We've had 3 break-ins since we got the camera.
Yeah, and they already realized that it wasn't any good, because that's what I heard from my people, because they went through my office too.
Why would this not be part of the renovation of the Osceola courthouse?
Can be.
Seems to me like that would be the logical time
Can be.
when you're doing that and
Sure
working
can.
in, and you've got 3/4 of it paid for, and take the other 1/4 out of the law library or something down there.
So are y'all talking?
That's the same fund. They're not giving you 24.
Are y'all talking about 8,000 will come out of county general?
8,000 come out of county something.
Something, yeah.
Somewhere.
Somewhere we've got to come up with an
But the
additional
rest of it
8,000.
comes out already, grant and the,
Judicial fund.
Yeah, the court automation fund and the Homeland Security grant.
36,000 will come out of court automation and
as long as it's a good system and everything, I think it's a good thing to do.
And
Then you need to change companies.
$40,000 system.
do you
I don't see how
know-
we can do without it.
Is there a time frame on this?
I haven't been told of a timeframe. I mean,
He didn't say anything to me that either, he's gonna be out of town.
Have you had time to look at his proposal?
Mhm.
Have you? What's your thinking?
I think it's good. I think we need it.
But do you think it should be part of the overall renovation?
I think it can be, yeah. Yes, I do.
It seems a little, that we want to go in now and string wires, and of course, most of this may be wireless, I don't know.
No, it's wired, but I mean, we're gonna wire it correctly this time.
But
Are you gonna let
it would need
NET
to
do
be a
it?
part
Part of the renovation.
overall
I think it's, oh, no, this is a group. And they make molding. If there's not a place to do it, they put molding up.
You don't have the coax.
But they butchered,
that you have with,
the circuit
a lot of
boards.
towns they got right now.
I mean, it's not security. It's
how much is this grant?
That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
It's usually 6 months.
Yeah.
That's the thing, they just never able to
We've already
find
got the
out
money.
anything.
Oh, we've already got
more
the money for the
Judge, how do you feel in terms of, we've got $8,000 we need to find. We've got $2 million in that renovation money. Do you think we could access some of that to come up with the 8,000?
Absolutely.
All we need to do then, well, we've appropriated that 2 million.
Doesn't he have a committee that he's appointed for that?
That's right, yeah.
He has a citizens group that he's using for advice and guidance.
Would they use it?
Technically, it's county money and county guidance, but he wisely is utilizing their ideas and thoughts and processes, although he's not hardwired to them. They don't have any authority other than what the judge allows them.
I will,
Run it by them.
I haven't heard anybody mention catching someone. Have we caught anybody?
They did.
Why don't we do what you
When?
said?
They caught the guy breaking in at the Tom's machine.
In the what machine?
The Tom's?
Talking to that committee.
Or you want to wait till?
No,
The chip machine in the
I
court.
know it, but I'm trying to remember them catching them. They didn't catch them.
Well, I move that we move this project forward as part of the renovation project
They
of
got
the
their own lighting there, they
and
didn't
apply the grants that we received
where's
to the
that?
price.
And allow the judge to run it through a citizens committee.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Uh,
There you go. Peggy, what are you hiding, Peggy? You've been so quiet today. What's our taxes look like? Revenue's up?
Actually, I couldn't get the report today. There was a glitch in my system, I couldn't get the report today.
Anything that we need to know from you or you'd like to share with us?
Not really, I couldn't get it to print, so I don't know how the revenues work for me.
Art? Janice?
Thank you.
Susan?
I'm good.
Janice, good.
Believe that or not.
No, I'm not. I have good hearing. I have good hearing. Thank you very much.
Judge, you got anything
yes,
else?
we've just completed this spreadsheet. We took this off the Baldwin Shell estimates in October. And so this is a line item spreadsheet on the courthouse projects. And what we did was we reproduced those one at a time. And so we're going to end up having some more columns over here on the right-hand side One thing is, we already believe that we're 7%, you know, that we've got 7% worth of inflation here, so we're gonna add another one. And Kelly, have we started using this yet?
We have, oh, not the spreadsheet, no.
So we'll start filling those in, and if you all would like to be kept up on where we are on our financials, my plans are also to have this on the website, so to make it public. But anyway, that's not dyed in wool, because we don't have the contractor yet. We don't have the new one, but this will give us a general idea about what's going on.
Any other JP have anything they'd like to offer the committee?
I will add too that we're coming along well on VOTEC. I'll be going back down there here in just a few minutes. We're looking like that we can move before August the 1st. So,
Are you talking to everybody or just?
Everybody.
I'm talking about all the offices that are moving.
Yes.
Talking about everybody moving by August 1st?
Yes. I said we'd have the capability, we'd be prepared.
Okay.
Right now, we've cleaned the lot off, we're striping the lots, we've got our signs in for our handicap spots. We've still got painters and carpenters down there. We'll have the floors buffed here the next probably 2 or 3 weeks. We've got the all of our data drops in, and we're testing those right now. They should be functional. So I mean, we're just about there. Yeah.
Cool. Getting there. Guys, with nothing else, we'll call the meeting adjourned. Thank you. Oh, excuse me, what you got,
Well,
Kelly?
I need to get a total on this slot for the Osceola janitor.
19, that Benny category and.
Well, that's the low point.
Well, we're gonna see.
Is that what you wanted to do? No, the midpoint's 23.
I thought you showed me midpoint. 19 something was midpoint.
Yeah,
That's what you
we
said,
would,
yeah.
that's what I would do at midpoint.
I think it's not
23.
But then makes more than that, and so does the other, with an Osceola. Because we weren't gonna have to put them up for anything.
19,365.
Yes. We got it.
That's good.
That's not what I have, so that's what I'm.
It's midpoint at 1690 hours.
Everybody else is telling me.
Oh, that's where I'm.
Yeah, because we.
Yeah. But I
That's one
thought,
thing we recommended was boosting them all to 40 hours.
yeah, we're doing that.
Because the judge said,
If you want to work 40,
the judge said that.
Well, we have to appropriate more money if they're gonna do it. They can't just say they want to work 40, then find out.
Yeah, we want to appropriate 40.
But we're talking about moving all of them. We're not moving just one guy that.
Well, we're gonna have to appropriate something for the one guy, right? So I just needed to get a figure on that. So what'd you say, the 19?
Yeah, that's 19, yeah,
And that's gonna be
19,365.
1690 hours.
Yeah. And then if the personnel committee was wanting to talk about moving everybody, those, that category is.
That'll be later.
Yeah, we'll do them all.
We did.
We passed that the other day.
We recommended that we move them to
Well,
40.
I wasn't there, but I
The
mean.
judge was saying when he came in, handed it all in here,
You represent.
he went around and showed them everything they were supposed to do. He didn't know how they were doing it in 6.5 hours. And before we get into a problem, number one, ran out of money because we're having to pay overtime. We thought we should move them to 40 hours.
You're familiar with what they're talking about there. Okay. Let me back up just a minute then and ask, we're talking about adjusting salaries and moving categories up and everything. Are we going to do that at the same time, or is this something you want a more immediate action on?
Well, here is the problem. If you get somebody to come in and work before, more than their 6.5 hours, and then turn in 6.5 hours, you got a problem. So, and he does, we walked around and it's impossible to get that done in 6.5 hours. And I've been at the courthouse at before 6 o'clock in the morning, and I have not been there yet. So, I think he's gonna have to just work, you know, the 40 hours. Or, I don't think he can be working for free,
Well, I agree, get you in trouble in so many ways.
so many ways.
So are you talking, how many positions are you talking?
I'm just throwing it out there for information. I mean, we're gonna fix to have 3.
Are you talking all janitorial positions?
I would think so. But right now, the way, what we're looking at, I think so.
So,
Right now, you said using minimum wage, is that right?
Well, that's sort of what everybody thought, because we never did really know how much the state was paying. And someone said they thought it was minimum wage, which I know that minimum wage is supposed to go up to $10 an hour at some point in time. I don't remember when. But that is like $11 and some few cents per hour is what that boils down to. And that's what we recommend, is that we move all 3 of them, because if you look at the Cotton Bowl building,
Well, if you're basing it on 40 hours, the midpoint's 23,
23 what?
834.
And that's roughly about, it looks about $11.25 an hour, but that's, which minimum wage will go to that over the next couple of years.
Michael, there was some discussion at that meeting that a couple of those people might not want to work 40 hours. And the understanding would be that they would be paid 40, they're only going to be paid for what they work.
they're hourly employees.
Some of them might choose to stay with the 32.5. That was mentioned. I just throwing that in, I'm not remember.
We also, we go to the Cotton Bowl. I'm sorry, but that building is a lot bigger than the courthouse that we're in right now. So there's gonna be a lot more there, a lot more area to cover. And then we're still gonna have to take care of the clerk's office, the extension office, and there was someplace else this building. Because our current janitor covers this building also.
Ready to cover this bill?
No, Marcus Anderson does this one.
Oh, Martin.
He's just a contract. We have a contract with him to do this at the health department.
But, we're gonna have 3 different cities, or 3 different locations that we're gonna have people. As the judge pointed out, just in the clerk's office, the circuit clerk's office, it's been the entire day there. And that's why we recommended adding the 3rd person, because we're gonna need someone Cotton Bowl building. We probably need to put them all on 40 hours.
So do you have a solid recommendation coming from personnel? What would that be?
Well, we voted to add the person, add the extra person.
We do too.
We do too. For all 3.
We do too. We sweep them up also, because that's the only way they get done.
With that 40-hour midpoint
Yes.
dollar?
Benny's over that, but Annie's not there. And then I don't know what you want to do for the 3rd person.
Well, the 3rd person, we were looking at the same thing as Benny and Andy as far as base.
No, but they're different amounts.
They don't make the same amount.
The midpoint, I guess, is what I'm
Yeah.
referring to.
So if you go
put 'em
on
at
the 40
mid-
hours, it's in the 23, and if you go on the 36, the 19. So that's where the difference is.
Basically, what we recommend is what you've got at 23.8 for his salary for the new person at 40 hours. And then we would adjust the other 2 to 40 hours. Did you happen to do figures on that?
Yes, but I did it based on their current salary. I didn't.
Well, and we can't cut their pay.
Right,
Okay, based on their current salary, let's leave it like that.
okay. But the new person's gonna think.
Yeah, so do you have dollar figures there then?
Based on their current salary, to move both of them to 40 hours, it's gonna be $3,700 extra for bidding and about $3,150 for Annie. That's just to finish this year.
Okay, so let's get a little more specific on your 3rd position then. Have you put a dollar figure in relation to Benny and Annie as far as?
I have not.
Where do you think we ought to go with that? I don't think we ought to go above midpoint.
No, I think midpoint that would be my figure, is
On a
midpoint.
40-hour basis.
That's right.
Can you put that together for me?
Okay, so that'll be the 23,834 plus dividends
Based on,
for the rest of the
on
year.
a 40-hour basis.
Annie won't go 40.
you don't have to, but at least the money would, the time and money would be there.
And we're fixing to redo those cards that we signed of how many hours you worked. I got some verbiage from Jason Owens the other day, and we're gonna include those. It's gonna say something to the effect of, I swear. You know, these are how many hours that I've worked. And I understand, you know, blah, 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 so that we won't fall into that.
Well, we're already into that with the sheriff's department.
Right.
You know, and that, we should be having that for every hourly employee.
That's what I said, it's gonna be on their time sheets from now on, that when, as soon as we get them printed up. And they're gonna sign an affidavit saying they understand what they're swearing to every time they sign it, so that you don't come in and say, I worked 6.5 hours when you really worked 7. You put it down exactly the way, and I think we're gonna, I think we need to move to a time clock.
I thought that before. It's hard to get.
I mean, you know, in lieu of what's going on right now, I mean, we need to tighten the ship up a little bit.
Okay, so what we're looking to do is increase appropriations, and Kelly put the numbers, the specific numbers, but take them at their current, the two, Annie and Benny, at their current salary rate, but move them to a 40-hour work week.
Exactly.
And the third position at a 40-hour work week on the basis of that 23, 8 something midpoint salary.
Exactly.
Motion.
I move. Yes, I'll make a motion.
Second. Okay.
They're not gonna make over that, they're just going to be able to fill 40 hours of it.
Right, and they may not work for 40 hours.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, if Annie doesn't want to do that, that's up to her and her boss.
Yeah, that's what we discussed in the personnel.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Right.
Any opposed? Kelly, I'm sorry to skip over you, dear. Do we have something else? You do so good at taking care of me, otherwise I'm just... Judge, anything else then? I think we're square. Guys, I appreciate you. We're not.